Let's look at HTML skeleton elements. These four core HTML elements, HTML head, title and body, that are going to appear in every page that you create. So every page out there on the web is going to have these elements. They are core to everything. So we start off with the HTML tag itself. That defines the beginning and the end of the HTML document. All the other HTML elements will go inside of those two, the opening and the closing HTML tag. Then we divide the HTML document up. First of all, we have a head. The head is the brains of the HTML page. It contains what we call metadata. Information about the page, such as its description, its title, the styling it would use. There can be JavaScript in there as well. A lot of this stuff you don't see. In fact, you only see the title element, which is the next one. The title appears in the head. It's what we call a child of the head. So it sits inside of the head element, and this provides a name for the page, a title for the page. The title you see it in the tabs. In HTML, it's also used as a default bookmark name, and it's used in something called SEO, search engine optimization. Ideally, the title should be unique per each page in your website, and you should think about naming these with a purpose, and then perhaps the name of the site. Perhaps separate them with characters like this, known as the pipe character. Then we have the body. So you have one head and you have one body per document. The body is where all the interesting stuff goes. So all the text, the images, the video, all the content that makes people come to your web pages in the first place. The closing body and the closing HTML tags should generally be the last two elements that appear in your page. So that's your basic structure. You have an opening HTML, a closing HTML, and then you have one head and one body. And then you can put the core of your content inside of the body element. One more thing to mention here, we do also, when you look at code, you will see that this appears in most people's pages. It's what's known as a doc type declaration. This is you making a statement of intent as the developer to say that you're going to use the latest version of HTML. So notice it isn't a HTML tag as such, so it's what's known as a doc type declaration. So that's generally the first thing that you'll see in a page. Now let's just have a wander through and look at some other pages. So if I'm in any given web page, you can right click and inspect, and you'll be able to see the code that's used to create that page. So if I just zoom on out, where you can see there's the HTML tag, there's the doc type declaration, there's the head, there's the body. So if I select the head, nothing gets highlighted, but if I select the body, everything gets highlighted. That differentiates between the head and the body. Let's just do a quick little example in Visual Studio Code. So I'll create a new page in Visual Studio Code. Don't forget to give the file the .html file extension. So we've just seen that we had a HTML tag in Visual Studio Code. You can just type HTML and hit tab. There's our opening and closing tag, and then we saw that you need to have a head, and in there we can have a title, and then in here we could have a body. So it's in the body where you would place other elements, such as a H1 for this is my page. Right, so let's show you that in the browser. I can just copy that path, stick it into Chrome here. There's my page. Again, let's right click and inspect. There's our head, there's our body. See, the body gets highlighted when I select that. And the title of my web page appears on the tab. One last thing to avoid, there is confusion sometimes around something called header. Header lives in the body. It is distinct from head. As Visual Studio Code is telling me there, header represents introductory content within the page. It typically contains a group of introductory or navigational aids. So I could be placing that H1, for example, inside of there. And if I go back and refresh here, I've now got a header, and you can see that that is part of the visible bit of the body as opposed to head, which is the brains of the document. Okay, so do be careful that you don't confuse those too. A header in other web pages would be this kind of content here, so the navigation, perhaps this advert at the top, this kind of content up here at the top of the page. Generally these are the sort of things that you put in a header element. Okay, thank you. So in summary, HTML for the outline of the document, head for the brains of the document, provide metadata. We'll talk about other meta tags later on. Body, where the core content goes, and don't confuse head and header, they are different.